Hi, this is Tom from TomandEllaJournal.com, and yesterday I ordered a survival type shovel, tactical shovel from Amazon. And I did that because a little over 3 months ago I had ordered one from a thing I saw on Facebook. And I had given up that I was ever going to get anything and figured I had just gotten ripped off. And so I had ordered a shovel. Well, then yesterday in the mail, of course, came the shovel that I had ordered. It's got a fairly sharp edge on here. This, it claims, is a knife edge, but it's not terribly sharp. There are 3 wrench sizes, a saw, and a hook knife for pulling off branches or something. And this is adjustable. Loosen this up, and it has, other than straight ahead, it has a 90-degree and a 45-degree angle. Actually, it doesn't look like 45, probably a 30-degree angle that you can set it at. It took me a while to figure this out because it's counter-threaded, so to tighten it you would turn it the way you normally would to loosen something. I'm not sure why that is. This end is hollow, and you can put this little knife and bottle opener in it. Now, this surprised me because a lot of these little doodads like this, the knives come not sharp and probably not going to hold an edge. This one actually is very sharp. It also has a saw edge on it, which, I don't know, if you're going to cut something that you only need a stroke of about 4 inches, I guess that would work. There are 2 extensions to this, which makes it, I don't know, about 30 inches, I guess. Let's see, what else is in here? At the top end, you have a spot where you could put a lanyard, gripping rope or something in there. It also has one of those deals for breaking out windows. I've got so many of those, and I've never in my whole life, and no, that's not true. I was going to say I've never had to break out a window. Many 50 years ago, 50 some years ago, I was over in Germany and in the service, and one of the wives of one of the guys that I was friends with had come in to bring him something, but he was on duty in a whole other section away from the main admin area, and she had locked her keys in her car, and I don't remember now what it was. It was what would now be a vintage American car, and it still had wing windows. You remember wing windows? I love wing windows, and I wish they had not done away with them, because there are so many times that rather than run an air conditioner, you just prop that wing window open and had that air blowing on you. It felt so good. Anyway, to the story. She locked her keys in there, and she came in and asked if I would come out and try and get her keys, get it unlocked. Well, not being a professional car thief, I really wasn't sure on how to do it, Got a coat hanger, and I dug around trying to get in there to pull the lock up. Was unable to do that, and finally she just said, well, just break a window, I need to get in there. Oh my. Well, it happened that there was a horseshoe pitching area right near where she was parked, so I went and got one of those big heavy, probably cast iron, I don't know what they're made out of, the horseshoes. And I said, well, instead of breaking the window, I'll break the wing window. You know, I beat on that wing window and beat on that window and beat on it, and it finally broke the clasp off on the inside. It never did break the glass. So yeah, there would have been a chance that I might have been able to use something like that. But never ever have I. And like I said, I have several of them, different tools that I have. Let's see, what else we have here? A whistle. Not a high quality whistle. But then what do you expect? And this actually screws on to the end of this, which then screws on to whichever one of these is the end piece. So if you ever had an emergency and needed to get this, not only would you have to take this out, you'd have to take this off, unscrew the whistle. So it wasn't that kind of emergency, not an immediate emergency whistle. The other thing that was in it is a reversible screwdriver. You got a spade head and a Phillips head, and that fastens into here. There's a hex head shape there. You have to get it just right, I found. And so far I'm not getting it just right. Oh, there it goes. Now once it's in there, it's really locked in good and tight. So that would be an effective screwdriver if I didn't already have my Leatherman in my pocket, which has a several flat head or spade head. All right, so this is what I got. Oh yes, and they have little camouflage pouches to carry the things in. All right, so let's see, the knife has to go in this one, and then, no, that's not right. Give me a minute. These have to go together in just the right order, or it doesn't work. Okay, this one would screw into here. Now I will say, this is really heavy gauge metal. I'm assuming it's probably aircraft gauge aluminum. There we go. They say end to end, that's about 18. It's over 2 foot, not quite 3 foot, I guess. That'd be one heavy thing to swing. I haven't tried to chop anything with it yet, and I may never ever try to chop anything. But I am going to use a shovel, because on the other side of our home here, previous tenants, or maybe even the landlord, had put a tire down in the ground to use it as a planter. Well, I'm going to dig it out and move it because about 18 inches from where that is, there are irises that come up every year. Well, they come up every year, and then the mowers come along and mow them off. So I'm going to dig that tire up and put it over where the irises are. Maybe give them a chance. Anyway, other than that, it's kind of warm today, in the mid-90s, and I've been out here working on this, still rearranging things. I see my shelves up there, my top shelf. I really needed something heavier than that 1x2 that I put up there, because that whole thing is sagging. And there's a 1x2 in the back, which is also sagging under the weight of stuff up there. I think I may try and brace that. I've got some scraps of 2x4s and things here. I may try and lift and brace, see if that works. But I don't know if I want to get too involved in that, because I'm considering just tearing this all down and doing a rebuild, because right now it is just the width of the truck box. I just built it right up on the top of it, and I'm thinking of extending it out sideways, maybe 7 foot, maybe 6.5, 7 foot. And that would give me a chance then to inset these Sterilite, I don't know how they pronounce it. These drawers, anyway, I would be able to insert them into the wall. Well, either wall. I was thinking the driver's side wall. Because if I put that out 7 inches beyond where it is now, and brought it in 7 inches, which would line it up with the wheel well, that would make a 14-inch base to put those in, which would be quite handy. Nice and lightweight. And at the same time, I would raise the ceiling in here, because right now it's only 2 foot above the box of the, or the bed of the, not the bed, but the railing on the side of the truck. So what I'd like to do is raise it so that at this end it's 4 foot high, and at the cab end is 3 foot high. So it would have it would be taller than it is now, by 2 foot at this end and by a single foot at the other end. And that would give me more headroom, actually be able to sit in there, get a small stool or something to sit on in there, make it a little handier. But also with a slope roof, then I shouldn't have any of the problems that I've had with the leakage. The main problem is the boards that I used up at the top. Although they're good heavy boards, they're 3/4 inch marine grade plywood, but there's a seam in the middle because I had to use 2 approximately 4x5 sheets, 4x5, 5.5 sheet. And the seam in the middle, even though I glued it, I have tarred it, I have put a tarp on it and screwed that in place, held it in place with some thin sheets of lath. And then I've put rubber roofing compound on it, and for some reason it still leaks. It's driving me crazy. beginning to suspect that it's coming up through the floor. Now, I know it isn't because I've put stuff underneath it, and right in the middle, right underneath that seam, is where it leaks. So, I think a sloped roof is the way to go on this. This pickup box has outgrown its original use. Originally, what is the roof up here was just laid right across the rails on the side of the truck, and it had a hinge in that joint that I'm complaining about, and all I was using it for was just to keep stuff that I had in there relatively dry out of the weather, and be able to put some tools and things back there and not worry about somebody wandering off with them as they walk past my pickup. Well, then, I don't remember when I did this. Was it just last year? It may have just been last summer that we were talking about bringing more stuff from our Iowa home down to Texas. And when we've been moving now, it's still packed with stuff. That's my wife. Don't tell her that I said that. But if it was up to me, we wouldn't bring most of that stuff that we carry back and forth. Anyway, to the point of the thing is, I raised it 2 foot so that we'd have more space for carrying stuff back and forth. So that was all it was going to do. But now I'm thinking of using it more as a something for camping, and as an emergency getaway, emergency shelter, in case that something would happen. When you live in an RV, you probably think more about that kind of stuff than you do living in a sticks and brick home. Let's face it, RVs are more susceptible to wind than a stone house or even a wood framed house. And even though we're very stable here, I've got it, the frame of the RV is supported in multiple areas, so it's not just resting on the tires, it is actually resting on some jacks and supports and things. So it is very stable for an RV. And I wouldn't have done that except for the fact that we have no intention of moving from this spot. This is our final resting place, other than our home in Iowa. But this year, with the COVID-19 stuff, we have decided to forego going back to Iowa until this is completely under control. We are both in the age group and the health group that makes us very susceptible to having a very difficult time if we were to contact this COVID-19. Pardon me, my hands are working here, but I'm just removing the things. That knife does fit very snugly down into this handle. It actually even, there is a screw thread on there. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll put the, as I said, I'm just disassembling this and putting it in its handy dandy little carrier here, and I'm still working out exactly what's the best way to put it all together. But since I now have just a handle, I put the end piece back on here. And if I get the Velcro straps pulled down and insert this. Oh, I really don't want to do that because I do want to use it later. However, I will close this up. It would be nice if there were belt loops or something on these, but I suppose they would go in a backpack. That's probably enough rambling about that. When I get the shovel I ordered through Amazon, we'll see how they compare. I'll tell you, I paid a lot less for the one that I got through Amazon, because this, they had kind of a bait and switch thing with the advertising, because they advertised it for about half the price that I actually ended up buying it. But if you bought the one at that price, what you got was this, with none of the other tools or anything, without the handle extension. And while if I were backpacking, that probably would be fine, but I decided I really would like to upgrade and get the longer handle to use. So, okay, that's enough rambling. Thank you for joining Tom with TomandEllaJournal.com, and another little talk with Tom, this time about survival shovel. Thanks for listening.